Hello and welcome to the Sports News. I am Ryan Ashker, and now for today's headlines. Preseason polls expect the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater to once again claim the WIAC title in both men's baseball and women's softball. The baseball team is the two-time defending conference champion and the 2014 NCAA Division III national champion. While the softball team enters the 2015 season ranked 4th in Division III, that team is also returning 14 letter winners for the season's campaign. WIC track and field honors were announced earlier this week, with UW Lacrosse sweeping the men's awards, including Coach of the Year honors for Eagles leader Josh Buchholz. In the women's division, University of Wisconsin Lacrosse's Claire Gordy was selected the track performer of the meet, while UW Platteville's Amber Williams received field performer of the meet honors. And UW Lacrosse's Pat Healy was selected the Coach of the Year. WIAA claimed 5 new champions in the 40th State Girls Basketball Tournament at the Rest Center in Green Bay. In Division I, the Divine Savior Holy Angels cruised to a 64-29 win over previously undefeated DC Everest to win the first state title. Pius 11 was crowned the champion in Division II after a dominating 54-36 win over Cedarburg. Whitewater finished out their undefeated season with a Division III championship over Xavier with a 49-43 win. Whitewater wins their first title in the first ever appearance in the state tournament. Cuba City also goes undefeated with a 56-43 victory over Fall Creek in the Division IV, giving the Cubans their second straight title and their membership leading 11th crown overall. Finally, in Division V, Barneveld won its second straight championship with a 59-43 win over Assumption. The field is set for the WIAA Boys State Basketball Championship, which kicks off Thursday the 19th at the Kohl Center in Madison. Local teams of interest include Mineral Point, who will put their undefeated record on the line against Auburndale in Division IV semifinal. Also, Mount Horeb will face West Superior in the Division II semifinal. And in Division I, Madison East will face undefeated Germantown. Winners of those games will have the opportunity to play in the state championship games on Saturday, March 21st. We'll be right back with more of the sports news after this. And welcome back to the Sports News. Right now I'm joined by Scott Vesterdahl, the head men's basketball coach at Madison College. Scott, thanks for joining us here today.
Well, thank you for having me out.
Tell us a little bit about this past season. How'd it go for you? What were maybe a couple of highlights or things that stood out?
Well, I think we had a really nice year this year. We were 20-11 and ended up playing in the regional championship game for the right to go to the national tournament. And we played Rock Valley College out of Rockford, who was ranked #1 in the nation all year. And it was a 4-point game with 1:30 to go, and we had a wide open 3, and I thought it was going when it left his hands, and it didn't go, and we ended up losing that game. And they played in the national championship game last night and got beat by 3. So, but we had a good year, a real nice year overall.
Can't really complain about that. What makes Madison College, a good place for student athletes to go to school? And on top of that, what makes it a good place to play basketball?
Well, I think first of all, the academic piece is a great reason to go to Madison College. School is inexpensive. It's a great way to get core classes out of the way. Class sizes are smaller, and the credits transfer to any university. And I think our faculty does a fantastic job. As far as basketball goes, I think it gives athletes an opportunity to continue their development in the classroom and in the weight room and on the floor, and have that opportunity maybe to go play at the next level.
And speaking of, that next level, or that opportunity that Madison College provides, what about recruitment? Where are you able to find some of your recruits with, bigger WIAC schools and things like that?
Well, I think most of our kids come from throughout Wisconsin, southwest Wisconsin, the Milwaukee area. We've had some kids from Green Bay and the La Crosse area. We typically have an international kid every year. This past year we had a kid from London, and we've had a number of kids from England over the years. So I think it's kind of fun because they certainly, it's neat to learn about their culture, and I'm not sure what my guys teach them, but I'm sure they learn as well.
Could imagine. To kind of bring up the point you made, how many guys do you have moving on to four-year schools, whether it's to continue playing basketball or just academically?
Well, this year in particular, we've got one young man who just verbally committed to a Division II full-ride NCAA school, West Texas A&M, after his first year with us. So he's going to be a full scholarship kid for 3 years. We'll have a second-year guy who will end up playing at Wisconsin Lutheran. Another kid that's just took a visit this past weekend, and he'll end up at a NAIA somewhere, I think. So a lot of our kids end up moving on to the next level.
Fantastic. Scott, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you for having us. Really appreciate being here and able to talk about Madison College.
Scott Vesterdahl, head coach of Madison College men's basketball. We'll be right back with more of the sports news after this. Welcome back to the sports news. Right now I am joined by the Portage High School girls curling team, Jim Schlimovich, Madison Bear, Lane Leahy, and Anne-Marie Duberstein. Thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you.
Now, you girls just won a state championship, and not the first one. What does it mean to win 3 straight state championships?
It's honestly really an honor. You know, it's such a great program we have, the high school curling program, and it means a lot to be a 3-time state champion.
I can imagine now. How many have you guys been around for? Have you been a part of all 3 or not quite?
I have been a part of 3.
I've been a part of 2. Lane has been part of 1.
Wow, very impressive. And the school, Portage, has won 4 state titles in 6 years. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Maybe some of the secrets you guys have to be so successful.
Portage has an amazing junior program, which is kind of where it all stems from. And by the time we get to high school, we are very advanced than a lot of other schools. But there are a lot of other schools starting to pick up their competition as well. So it's really evening out.
I could imagine. Has 4 in 6 years or something like that ever been done before in curling in high school?
I don't know. It hasn't, not since the history of high school curling state.
Wow. Now, curling, it's a little bit out there, maybe not a mainstream sport yet, but it is very popular in Wisconsin. Can you talk to us a little bit about, why?
We've had a lot of Olympians come out of Wisconsin, which is really cool. Maureen Brunt, Debbie McCormick, there's multiple. And I think that's one way it really gets promoted is they always are helping out with juniors and stuff. And I think that's one of the reasons why Wisconsin is so big in curling.
Now, with as successful as you ladies have been, have you had a chance to work with some of those Olympians or meet them?
Yeah, like we work with Rusty Schreiber. He's the Paralympic coach. He's helped us, coach us through juniors, through high school. He's helped us a lot.
And you mentioned the good juniors program that Portage has. How did you girls get started in curling? Is that something you've always wanted to do? Is it something you signed up with for school, or how does that kind of come about?
Well, okay, Maureen Brunt, so she came from Portage. So we heard about her being in the Olympics. We were all about in elementary school. So it got promoted at our elementary school. So everyone just got into it because they thought it was something cool to try.
Very interesting. That's one of those sports, I'd imagine you have some good spectatorship because it's in Wisconsin. That's one of them, if you're watching the Olympics, you just can't really turn it off when it comes on.
Definitely.
Well, that is the Portage High School girls curling team. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more of the sports news right after this. And welcome back to the sports news. Now I'm joined by Dennis Quinn, the head coach for Milton boys hockey. Dennis, thanks for joining us here today.
Thanks for having me.
So how did hockey get started in Milton?
Janesville Youth Hockey is for Janesville and Milton, and the school district and people in the community got together and decided that we should have our own hockey team now that we have numbers coming up through the youth program of Janesville, and they saw the potential for the program, so they started the program.
Fantastic. Now you mentioned Janesville Youth. Is that kind of where your kids come from? Because Milton doesn't have a youth hockey program, correct?
Milton does not have a program right now. All the players are coming out of Janesville Youth Hockey. Projecting out the next 3 or 4 years, we're looking at getting 4 to 6 new players every single year, which will put us at about 28 players in the next 3 years, 4 years.
Fantastic. Is that the only place you guys are pulling kind of youth players up, is from that Janesville youth?
Youth players are coming from Janesville. There are some kids in surrounding areas that maybe don't play for Janesville, such as some Edgerton kids or Whitewater kids that could eventually, because Milton is the only place that, besides going to Madison, that is close to Milton. So
sure. And this was your first year as coach, correct?
Correct. We just started the program. We just got through our first year. Only 14 players. We ended up 3-13 in our first year, which wasn't bad. But really looking forward to next year and the young talent coming up.
I could imagine for a first year, that's impressive. Do you have any specific moments or things that stick out from you about your first season?
Our first home game of the year, we got our first goal and our first win in front of our own fans at our first home game. That's a pretty big moment. The only other one that sticks out is we beat Madison at 3-0 with only 9 guys, which is really hard to do at the high school varsity level.
Wow, that's impressive. What are some of the program goals or maybe personal goals you have going forward for next season?
Well, now that we have the foundation laid and the groundwork and the systems put in, I don't graduate any kids this coming season. So the fact that I'm going to have some leadership, I see us building on that, becoming a better team, not only record-wise, but also with the kind of hockey that we're trying to play in Milton.
So that's a big advantage for you to have. You're not going to be graduating any upperclassmen, as you said, so you're going to be returning your entire team?
My whole team returns. My goaltender was a freshman last year. Wow. He took over 800 shots, so he's like a junior now. So we're very fortunate that we're not going to graduate any, and we got that good experience in our first year.
I could imagine. Well, great job on the first season. We look forward to hearing more about Milton hockey and hopefully, a reinvigorated second season coming up.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Dennis Quinn, head coach of Milton boys hockey. We'll be right back on the sports news after this. Hello and welcome back to the Sports News. Right now I'm joined by Jamie Patrick, Vice President of the Madison Area Sports Commission. Jamie, thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
So first of all, tell us a little bit about what the Madison Area Sports Commission does.
Well, the Madison Area Sports Commission is dedicated to driving economic impact of Dane County through sports tourism. So we do that by recruiting state, regional, national, and international sporting events to Dane County, such as Ironman Wisconsin and USA Cycling National Championships.
Those are some pretty big-time events. Looking forward, what are some big events or activities that you're working on now to bring to the area?
Well, currently, we're working on rolling out the red carpet for the 100th anniversary of the WIA State Boys Basketball Tournament and the other 15 state championships that are held here. We're working on club baseball. We're also talking with our local people to see if we should bring back more speed skating or wrestling or weightlifting type of events.
Fantastic. And you mentioned a little bit the WIA Boys State Tournament, the 100th anniversary. Can you share with us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, it's going to be an incredible event. Every year there's great teams playing in the tournament. This year's extra special because it is the 100th anniversary. And so it tips off this Thursday at the Kohl Center. Before the first Division 5 game on Thursday, there will be the doors will open early to have a special commemorative video, look back on the different aspects of the state tournament. There will be the first ever three-point contest at 9 a.m. on Saturday morning. You can always find out more information at WIA100.com.
You can see that right there on our screen too. That sounds very impressive. Dealing with those youth sports, can you tell me a little bit about the MASC Youth Grant? What is that all about and how does someone get qualified for that?
So that is open to any kid in Dane County. The MASC Youth Grant was formed within our inception and is primarily founded by the Ironman Foundation to get kids into sports and meet their interests and abilities, to get them out active and into sports. You can apply through our website. There's 2 cycles a year. And it's really one of those things where, it gets kids out and active, and one of those really special things that we do. It's benefited thousands of kids in Dane County in the last 5 years.
Now, Jamie, obviously we are a sports-centered television show, and you guys are bringing a bunch of sports and things like that to the area, something, I'm really passionate about too. How is this something I can get interested in, or maybe our viewers could get involved with?
There's so many ways. You can attend an event, you could sign up to participate, whether it's the Madison Marathon or USA Climbing National Championships. You can go out and spectate, buy the ticket to the USA Wrestling World Team Trials that will pick the America's team for the World Championships, or you can donate to help get kids into sports, financially contribute to the youth grant, or if you do need help, like I said earlier, apply to get your kids into a sport if you need some help.
Sounds impressive. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thanks for having me.
Vice President of the Madison Area Sports Commission, Jamie Patrick, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be right back with more of the sports news after this. And welcome back to the sports news. Right now I'm joined by Steve Arado, head football coach at Madison East. Steve, thanks for joining us here today.
Appreciate you having me.
How's the offseason been going so far? We were talking a little bit off camera on all the things you're doing. Can you share with us, some of the things Madison East is doing to continue improvement?
Yeah, we're having a really good off-season. We started lifting weights in November. We get about 80 kids per day. We offer weightlifting twice a day, from 7 to 8 and 4 to 5 p.m. So we get split squads in the morning, split squads in the afternoon, and we're training our athletes. And it's been pretty positive so far. And a lot of our kids are playing basketball right now, and so they're getting a lot of training that way too. So it's a pretty good off-season for us.
Good. And as you mentioned, you guys are looking to kind of, keep climbing those ranks. What are some of the expectations or goals that you have for next year's team?
Well, we set our goals in the offseason every year. We met with our players in November before we let them go for a couple weeks for weight training. And our number one goal is to win the city. We feel if we can beat Memorial, West, and La Follette, that's pretty good for us. And then hopefully qualify for the playoffs and win the Big 8 and go from there. So we prepare for that in the offseason. And those are our goals. And our expectations always are pretty good for our kids too, is to do good in the classroom, do good in the community, and that should take care of our stuff on the field too.
Yeah, and that's the best way. Good people make better players.
Exactly.
Are there any kind of changes that are taking place? You going into another season here with the team that are going on in the program, or changes that players and the fan base can be excited about?
Well, we just got finalized a couple weeks ago. We're going to play at Bree Stevens next year, which was big for our community. I think we played back there in the 60s and 70s, and to get that back as our home stadium is big for our community. The city's really backing us on this. They turfed the field last fall, and we're going to play there this year, and that's big for our community, and our kids are really excited about that, and having their own stadium and then having the community back us on that is really important.
That's very exciting news for you guys to be able to play out at Bree Stevens.
Yeah, we're excited big time for that, and our like I said, our community is big for that, and our alumni, I get phone calls every week about that, and they're pretty excited, so we're excited and looking forward to it.
Now, you're touching on the past with you guys going back to Bree Stevens and how you used to play there. Tell us a little bit about the program before you took over. What was the state of Madison East football?
I would say dire straits would be the word I would use, and it was just tough when we took over. We had 66 kids in the program. We'll have 120 this year. Wow. We brought brand new equipment the last 3 years, 130 new helmets, 130 new shoulder pads, brand new uniforms, brand new field equipment. Just giving our kids the best of what we're hoping to do, and so when like I said, we took it over, there weren't a lot of kids playing football, and now to be able to double our numbers has been really important for us, and it's been really important for our community and our alumni to back us on that, and they're really supportive of what we're doing, and so things are starting to trend upwards for our program.
So with a new field, new equipment, new helmets, and a reinvigorated staff and student athletes, what are some expectations for the 2015 season? Well,
we expect to win a few more games. We expect to play hard and continue to compete at a high level in our conference, and we've started to close the gap a little bit with the teams in our league, and we had a tough year in terms of the win-loss record last year, but we were able to keep games competitive, and we lost, I think, about 6 games by 22 points, and that's pretty good for us closing the gap because we were losing by 50, 55 points, and so we feel pretty competitive going through 2015.
All right. Well, head football coach of Madison East, Steve Arado. Steve, thanks again for joining us here today.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
We'll be right back on the sports news after this. Welcome back to the sports news. Right now, I'm joined by John Probst, MSCR Sports Supervisor. John, thanks for joining us here today.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks for asking me.
Hey, can you tell me a little bit about MSCR Sports and all the different leagues, things like that have going on? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure. MSCR was established a long time ago, 1926, and we're the Community Recreation Department for the City of Madison, the School District of Madison. Our adult sports leagues have been operating most of that time, although our heyday was really in the 70s and 80s, but we still have a large adult sports league program. We currently serve around 10,000 participants annually, and our adult sports leagues operate in the sports of softball, baseball, kickball, basketball, and volleyball.
I know I'm getting excited for softball coming up. I'll be in a couple MSCR leagues as well. What are some of the other programs that you're having spotlighted right now?
Well, we are currently registering our teams for our adult softball program, and we're hoping to be around 400 teams again this season. Our play begins around May 1st. But we're also in the process of organizing some leagues for our adult baseball program. We also have an adult kickball program, and both of those leagues begin play just after Memorial Day.
Kickball, is that something new for you guys?
It is new. We've done kickball the last 3 years, and we're hoping to expand the program just a little bit this year.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Any other big events coming up?
We do have a big event coming up. It's our initial 3-on-3 basketball tournament. The tournament itself will be held Saturday, April 11th. It's a one-day event at La Follette High School, and it's 3-on-3 with 3 divisions of play. We have a men's elite division, a men's recreational division, and a women's division of play. And our registration deadline for that 3-on-3 basketball tournament event is March 27th.
So that's coming up very quickly. So if you're interested, get signed up right away. Is this just for Madison residents now, or if I'm putting together, like I said, my softball team, and I have a buddy that lives outside of Madison, is that something he can come play in an MSCR league, or is it just Madison only?
No, your buddy certainly can come play with us, and we'd love to have him. MSCR is a division of the Madison Metropolitan School District, and we receive support from the school district. And our programs serve residents of the school district, of course. But all of our programs have provisions to serve participants who live outside the school district. In our adult sports leagues, 50% of the team can be players who live outside the school district. So we have all kinds of room for all of your buddies to play with us.
As you mentioned, MSCR works with Madison School District. So does MSCR also offer youth programs?
Oh, we do have youth programs, and as we head into summer, some of the highlights of our youth programs is we do have a youth t-ball and coach pitch baseball program. We have youth soccer leagues and weekly camps. And we have some sport-specific type camps like wrestling and volleyball. And we have some middle school day camps that are sport-specific and a lot of fun for all the middle school kids as well.
Awesome. Well, MSCR Sports Supervisor John Probst, thank you for joining us here on the Sports News today.
You're welcome, Ryan. Thanks for having us.
Also, thank all of you for joining us on the Sports News today. Until next time, I'm Ryan Ashker, and you're watching CW57 Sports.